In this video, I'm going to be reviewing and providing feedback on some of your DJ mixes. A few of you have sent me your DJ mixes. I'm just going to have a quick listen, go through them, and hopefully give you some tips on things that you can improve on and also highlight the things that you're doing well. If you want to submit a DJ mix for me to review and provide feedback on, check out the link in the description of this video. With that being said, let's dive into it and have a look at some of these DJ mixes. Alright, so this is the first mix we're going to just have a listen to. I'm not going to go through it all because it is an hour long. I'm just going to listen to the first couple of mixes and then move on to the next person. I'm going to try and get through a few people today and just be a little bit quicker in providing the feedback and moving faster through the mixes. And I already like the layout of this, so I can see exactly what you're doing on the decks and I can also see the screen. So let's get into it. Alright, now I have previewed some of these mixes first, and just so I can speed up the feedback process. Now, the first thing I would suggest here for you doing this mix is when you're starting your mix, I wouldn't really start right at the very start of the track with the intro. It does take a little bit of a while to get into this DJ mix. Now, the intros of tracks are mainly there to be mixed over the top of other tracks. They strip back versions of tracks with just drums, so we can hear the bass come in there, but they're used to mix with primarily. That's why when you listen to tracks on Spotify or on the radio, they'll do radio edits because it just gets straight to the main part of the track. So for me, just for if you're trying to attract a new audience and some new listeners, I'd probably just get into the track a little bit more and start with, let's say, the break of the track. That's just my personal preference. If I was clicking on this video randomly to have a listen, or maybe I want it to get to that part, I'd probably start there, right from that break. Alright, now let's have a look at the techniques. Now I can see on the top deck here, we have a loop going, which is absolutely brilliant. And it's in time with the track, so it changes now and goes back. So it looks like you've set a 32 beat loop at the start here on this track on the left. And that's exactly what I do. I do this with a lot of my tracks. That's one of the main techniques that I use and that I teach in my courses. So I really like that. And you see how it changes in time? Alright, perfect timing. So we've got that loop going in the background. That gives you a chance to beat match the track, get it in time, make sure everything's set. And then you just exit the loop whenever you're ready to go into the main part of the track. And you can mix this in whenever you're ready. And as you can see, that loop's still going, so you can use that intro for as long as you want. Alright, and what I like about this video as well is it's time stamped, so I can flick through the track and go to the mixes. But I just want to highlight here how you can see that loop is changing at the right time. That's really good. But when we actually get into the mix, like I said, I previewed this beforehand, so I know if I can give feedback and provide some value on this. And it goes out of time for your mix. So I'm just going to flick forward to it and I'll show you the reason why. So if you have a listen to this mix now. Alright, we're going to fade it in now. And the mix is 8 beats out. So if you have a listen to this mix, you'll notice that they change 8 beats differently. So have a listen. So the loops resets now. So listen to the change. There. It's 8 beats later than your loop reset. So something's gone out of time somewhere. And I'll show you why in a minute. So watch that loop reset on top again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There. So the loop didn't reset, but you can hear how that changed 8 beats out of time. So your mix there is just 8 beats out of phrase. So what I'm going to do is just quickly show you why. So I had to listen to this beforehand, and just after the first drop and it goes into the second break, there seems to be like an 8 beat break. So just randomly, there's just 8 beats before the vocal comes back in next. And then that seems to just throw the whole mix off because you leave the 32 beat loop going in the background and don't adjust it accordingly. Now this is very rare. Most of the tracks, 90% of tracks, will have 32 beat structure. And even tracks that have like an 8 beat kind of gap in it like this one will still have most of its track as a 32 beat structure. Alright? It's very rare, but sometimes they'll just have like an 8 beat break in it just to be different. I don't know what the producer's mindset was at the time. So I'm just going to show you. Let me see if I can find it. Right, so just here now, it's in time. And then after this, the track on the bottom we're looking at, and this track on the right, when it finishes the drop section with the kick and the bass, and goes into the break, the vocals don't come in till 8 beats after. And what that'll do is throw your loop on top out of time. And then all you need to do is just adjust. So just here now, have a listen. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the vocals start. And then if you count from here, it'll then go back to a 32 beat structure. But yours is staying in the old 32 beat structure. So now it's 8 beats out of time. And that's why that mix was just a little bit disjointed. So you just need to be aware of that. Keep your ear listening, and you should notice that it goes 8 beats out of time here. So have a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There. But that's 8 beats out from the loop on top. So just on that first mix there, just be aware of that, and hopefully that will come with a bit more experience. You should hear that it's just slightly disjointed and the phrases don't match up. Now, would people on a dance floor notice that? Maybe. It might be a little subtle thing, especially if they're dancing. It might just throw them off a little bit because it changes twice at 8 beats after. But your beats are in time, which is good, and some people won't notice. All right, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's just a little extra tip for you there. Now, if we have a listen to the second mix, again, you're using that 32-beat loop in the background, which is brilliant. So you'll see on the bottom deck here, it loops round, and that's in time. This now other track doesn't have a random 8-beat break in it. So everything times perfectly on this, which is good. So watch the timing again. The loop on the bottom changes with the sound and the track on top. Yeah, that's great. And then you start to do your mix. So the timing's right on this one, the mix is really good. I'm not sure why you set a loop on the track you're mixing out of. Alright, so now the track on top is now looping. It's not bad, it's not bad, that'll still sound good. But I see that you waited till the end of the track, and tracks naturally fade out and remove elements. So a lot of the time it's not necessary to create another loop on top. Just let the track naturally fade out and they'll naturally overlap each other. That's what they're designed to do. But yeah, still good. So that one's better. I just wanted to highlight that that one was better and the timing was better on that one. Now, if we have a listen to the third one, I noticed in this one there's a bit of double beating. So I did notice before you'd move the tempo faders, so I don't think you're using sync on this. You move the tempo faders to match, and I think you've got headphones on, beat matching that way, or you're just looking at the screens. Or just have a listen. The beats are slightly out. It's very subtle. Most people won't notice it, but I can pick up on that. My brain's crying out to just move that jog wheel and get them back in time. And that stays like that throughout the mix, so I don't think you notice it. So one there, just the beats are slightly out. Just train your ears a little bit more, keep practicing, that's all. And another thing here, I can see that you're moving. Let me just pause it a second. I can see that you're moving the highs and the mids, all right? So I'm assuming here the greens are the highs because the reds will be the trim or the gain. Then we'll go highs, mids are the white ones, lows are the blue, and then the gold are your filtered dials. Very nice colours, by the way. Very colourful. I've never seen anything like that before. But what I can see here is, if I'm looking correctly, the highs are pointing at, like, let's say 10 o'clock, and so are the mids. Now, the EQ dials, I'm going to do a whole video on this in the future because I have a few questions about this. I do explain it fully in my DJ course, so if you do want to know about it, check that out in the link below. But just a quick kind of summary of it now. If you've got both the highs and the mids pointing in the same direction, they're not doing anything, all right? You're just effectively turning the volume down. The EQ dials are there to create separation from the frequencies, all right? That is it. If you want to adjust the volume or bring things in quieter or make things louder or quieter, that would be done with your channel fader or the trim dial. They're your volume controls, okay? You shouldn't really, well, you can, but it's just unnecessary to be using your EQ dials to control volume. They're there to create separation. And what I mean by that is the more the dials are pointing in different directions, the more effect they're going to have. So this for me is why when I DJ, I don't touch the highs or the mids, right? There's no need to. And if anyone says that, oh yeah, but you don't want to clash them frequencies, they're not going to clash, right? If the sounds overlapping, you have a timing issue with your mixes, not a frequency issue. The only frequencies that you need to be worried about clashing and playing at the same time are the low frequencies. And again, if you've got them all pointing in a similar direction or they're not separated that much, you're not doing that much with the EQ dials. No, that's fine if you do just want to do it that way and that's habit for you, but I just wanted to make it clear that by turning down the mids and the highs and equally, or just swapping them slightly with the other track isn't going to do much to your mix, okay? It's very subtle, it's not going to make too much of a difference. With the EQ dials, it's mainly the low EQs that you need to make sure the low frequencies don't clash. But is anyone going to notice? No, that's just me being picky. Let's have a listen to the mix. I'm just trying to help you out there just to say that it isn't necessary. But yeah, there's still some double beating there. I picked up on that straight away. But your timing is really good. I like how you use the 32-beat loop structure. So the 32-beat loop intro as a system to bring your tracks in, get the timing right. And your timing's really good on the mixes. So how you pulled that channel down just as it goes into the break of the next track, really good. Okay, so there's some really good mixes there. You're on the right track. So just to summarize on them, if I heard this mix, like let's say in a bar, because it seems like Afro House, I can imagine myself at like a beach bar or like a cocktail bar with this playing on in the background. I would think that it's a good DJ set. I think the track choices are really good. The only two things that I would personally pick up on as another DJ is them 8 beats being out of time on the first mix and that slight little bit of double beating on the third mix. With the EQs, I wouldn't notice. If I weren't watching you, I wouldn't notice you were doing that. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm just trying to help you there. So yeah, well done overall. Let's move on to the next person. All right, now I've had to move my camera up here to the right-hand side in the center because this person here is also using the same software as I'm using to film, which is really good. All right, it's called OBS. If you don't know about it, to film things like this, OBS is probably the best one. A lot of streamers use it. It took me a while to find, to be honest, and once I found it, it was a godsend. I absolutely love it. And this is why he's able to film his screen, film himself, and film the decks. Now, the first thing I do want to mention is I really love the layout. I like that you're doing that. But it seems like you're really well lit. Okay, you've got a light behind you here. I can see you very clearly. But on the decks, I really cannot see anything that you're doing on the decks. It's very dark and it actually looks like it's filmed in different rooms. I'm not sure why this one's so dark and yours so bright. But yeah, this camera in the bottom right-hand corner is pretty irrelevant because I cannot see what you're doing. It might be better just to get it a bit more over the top and just light it a bit better so we can see. But well done for using OBS and filming like this. That's really good content. Right, so let's just have a listen. All right, now I will assume that this is a house mix. You have a house t-shirt on. And I have, like I said, previewed these before, and you do DJ what I would call proper house music. The tracks that you are playing are proper long house music. It's the stuff that I actually kind of really enjoy. And first started out when I started not DJing fully, I was DJing different type of house music. But I got into this house music and really like this type of house music. Now, one thing I will say above all else about this person is I just really like the energy. I could watch you all day. The energy you give off is brilliant. I was just hooked on watching your videos and you just enjoying yourself. It really did rub off on me and make me smile like it's making me smile now, so that was brilliant. Now, one thing I would say, like, you might not be able to see it on your screen because he's recording on OBS, I'm recording on OBS, and it's being uploaded, so you lose a lot of quality. But you can see you switching the bass lines there. Now, I'm not going to pull out anything significant or individual on this. What I want to just say is that overall, I can see you do a lot during your DJ set. Like now you can hear an echo or some kind of reverb or effect. Now your timing's perfect. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I can really tell that you've got your timing dialed. You're putting your effects on, pulling them out at the right time. Right, now watch the channel as well, going up and down. So you like channel, what I call channel flicking, where you flick the channel up and down. So you can just see that there on his screen. Bit more effects. Alright, so my observation that your timing's really good, you can really tell that you enjoy this, and I love watching that. I think we're opposite kind of DJs. Right, first thing I will say as well is you zoom in, you look in here, you can make this text bigger. I try and make my text as big as possible to avoid that eye strain and avoid leaning forward. Granted, you can see, it depends what you prioritize, you can see more tracks this way, but that looks like there's a lot of information that's not needed. I only have a couple of things on my library. If you ever watch my videos, the track title, I don't even have the artist most of the time. The BPM, sometimes the key, and the preview, that's it. So yeah, that just looks like the writing's very small. I've maybe make that a bit bigger. But, like I was saying before, I think we're very different DJs. For me, I don't do all this channel flicking or adding extra effects. I'm a very basic DJ. I probably would be different doing it with house music like this because these tracks are very long, quite repetitive, so it's good to keep that like kind of ear candy in there just to kind of keep it fresh for the listener. Hear it flicking up and down again. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just people are different. But your time is good and your energy is good, and I like that. Right, now the reason why I wanted to put it on this bit is you'll see in a minute. So I don't know if you can hear and see though, he's turning the bass up and down. So you like a lot of keeping it interesting, a lot of keeping yourself busy. Now personally, if I was DJing live, I wouldn't do this because sometimes I can think it's too much and might throw the rhythm off to the audience. But for what you're doing, where you're streaming and you're having a good time, by all means go for it. I would say keep doing it, because you obviously are having a lot of fun. Alright, now, in a minute he gets 3 decks going. Now I'm not familiar with this software, I think it's Traktor, I can't tell, but what I noticed is we've got the full track going here in the top right, but here it looks like it's got stems activated, so it looks like we're looping some kind of drums on this top left, and we've got both these playing at the same time, so there's 2 kind of channels going now, and you're getting a 3rd going. Alright, so that is really good, quite technical. But it looks like there's 4 layers again. So I don't know if that's live stem separation. I've never used this software, but it's very impressive. More effects. You're putting them in and pulling them out at the right time. Creating like your own kind of fake drops. So by doing the effects and then pulling them out at the right time, it's kind of like creating his own build up and then pulling it out, it's like having a drop. So it is well timed. So now you're bringing that 3rd deck in. Now again, I don't know if that's just drums, because I can't tell. I think that's just drums because of the stem separation. It's quite advanced, it's very good. Some more effects. But I really like what you're doing. So we'll just watch this mix, then I'll move on to the next person. I just want you to see this. So yeah, he's channel flicking this one. There's always something going on with DJ Roscoe. There's always something going on. He's always channel flicking. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Energy. That's what it's about, having fun at the end of the day. Especially doing this. Like I said, if this was live, it depends what crowd it is. House crowds like this, that kind of stuff. If I was in the audience, mate, I would think this were good. I might notice, because I'm a DJ, that you might be doing a little much for me with the channel flicks and the effects and the lows going in and out. But you're having fun, mate. That's all that matters. It's great. I have DJ'd like this in the past, and it is just great fun. So yeah, 3 decks, channel flicking in and out. Now I think the mix loses a bit of energy though. But you're hyped. So away from the technical side, Alright, great. You're having a lot of fun. You're doing a lot of things, a lot of channel fix, which are in time. Your mixing's in time as well. So you're in phrase. There's nothing that would really throw a crowd member off. So if you're in the crowd and you don't know about DJing, there's nothing really that would throw them people off. For me, looking at it from a DJ perspective, I do think on that last bit then it lost a bit of energy because this track on the top right hand side was like the main kind of anchor in all that, and then you just took the anchor away and it lost a bit of energy. But yeah, well done for getting 3 decks going and bringing the energy. It really did make me smile and I enjoyed watching it, so thanks for that. In terms of technically, I think you've got the right foundations, your timing's there, everything's in phrase, you're aware of when to bring your effects in and out in time with the track, and yeah, for me just a little bit too much, but for you that's great and other people might really enjoy that, so it's not a negative, that's just a bit of a difference, and there's no one way to DJ, so well done. Alright, so let's move on to the last person that we're going to watch in this video, and I'm going to keep myself up at mid-range on the screen because I think that the waveforms come along the bottom here, so let's have a listen. So this says Tech House and we are live. Alright, now the first thing is for me, this is quite disorientating, and I know it's cool to have the effects and it goes with the music and stuff, but it's very faded out on your decks. I think primarily as a viewer I'd want to see what you do a little bit more on the decks. I can't really see it. All I can see is Pioneer and that you have decks, so maybe over the top kind of angle.
You're in a mix. DJ Mushkey in the mix.
Nice, well timed on your DJ tag there.
I don't think they're remixing the song on the spot. I think they make it ahead of time.
Alright, now I can see that you've got your phrase analysis on Rekordbox here. So that's these colours underneath the waveform, the blocks. I've done a whole video on why I personally don't use that, or if you do want to use these, how to use them properly. So you might want to check that out if you do want to use your phrase analysis, which are them green blocks here. Because they're not always accurate if you leave the software up to it by itself. So your timing seems good here. So your tracks are in phrase, you're in the 32-beat phrase, which is good. So you see how they change at the same time just here? Oh, clicked it by accident then. See how they change at the same time here? Alright. Alright, so this is creative. I can see what you can do here. You've created a loop. You created a loop first as well. So if I remember rightly here, you create this loop and then kind of reduce it down. Now, for me personally, it sounds like it's 2 vocals on top of each other and it might be a little bit too much. So technically, you don't really want vocals on top of vocals, as it's too much for the audience to focus on. You only really want them to focus on one vocal at a time. So there's a little bit too much going on there. Technically, you're doing it right in terms of the loop. Yeah, right on that. Your timing was really good. The way you used the loop was really good. You reduced it down at the right times. It fit really well. Timing was brilliant. I think you also did a hot cue jump as well. So just as the track dropped, you probably jumped towards the end of the track, which is a really good use of hot cues. So well done on that. For me, I would just be careful of layering a vocal on top of another vocal. I wouldn't personally do the loop reducing down for that mix at that time. What I would have probably done is just ended the track as the break starts. There's enough going on. I think it's James Hype's track that's just come in. So just here. I would probably end the track on the left, which is the one on the top. Let me show you. So that's good. I'd probably be removing this track here on top and exit out of it by here. Reducing it down, maybe put a bit of an echo on and let it just fully go into this track here on the bottom. Just there, and just left the other track to finish. I think your loop would have worked if this one didn't have vocals in. There's just a clash of vocals, that's all. Alright, so that's my opinions on that mix, but technically really good. And then reduce it down. It's very technically correct. And very creative as well. I can see you got a hot cue there to then reduce it down. Great use of hot cues again. Reduce it down further. So you're doing it in time with the track. Then a hot cue jump maybe, let's have a look. Yeah, so you can see it jump there. Right, very good. So let's watch one more mix. I think you mix quite fast, so I don't need to skip ahead. Another thing as well, I'd probably bring these waveforms up a little bit higher so you see it kind of clashes with my play button and the scanning. Alright, so that looks out of time. But then you press play and correct it. Right, nice. Yeah, so this is the outro now of the track on the bottom. So you did hot cue jump. And now look at these. Yeah, perfectly timed. Switch the basses I would here, maybe. Oh no, so you start it again. Ah, nice. So listen how that vocal now is at the forefront and actually times really well with the other tracks. There's only one vocal playing at a time. So it sounds so much better coming in. That's actually sounds really good. Yeah, liking this mix. I'm not sure if you switch the basses there. And then I'd end this track on the right hand side, just here at hot cue. C, I think it is. Perfect. That was perfect. And what I liked then as well, so it's perfectly timed mix, vocals trickling in. Probably switch, I can't tell if you switch the basses on the video because it's not that clear. Probably switch the basses there. And you're still doing it with this section of the track, what I would call an outro plus, right? It's not the full outro starts here. So what I wanted to highlight here is that you end your mix and go into the next track fully before the full outro beat starts. So you can see how this waveform here at the bottom, hopefully you can see there's more gaps between the red kick drums, which means there's no bass line. Whereas here on the left before it, there's a lot of red between the kick drums. It's a lot fuller. So that means there's a bass line there. So what you're doing is you're really keeping that momentum going with this mix, and you're doing the hot cue jump as well. So that is a really good mix. That is pretty much very closer to what I would do with these kind of tech house sets if I was DJing in a club live, to keep that momentum going, hot cue jump closer to the end and just mix a little bit quicker and not let the DJ set go flat or go into any outro beats by itself and not have too long of a mix. So that was really good. Alright, so we'll leave it there for that video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you gained some value from me looking at these mixes and providing some feedback and just giving a few tips on hopefully what I would do differently and also what they have done well and what they could improve on. If you want to submit one of your DJ mixes for review, check out the link in the description below this video. I just want to make a point that the more that I can see the waveforms, the decks, the easier it is for me to provide feedback on. If you want to watch the last video on where I provided feedback for somebody else, check out this video here and I'll just pop it up right now and you can watch that video as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the future. Bye for now.